This is Darren L. Harris, and I've been thinking, and this is thinking outside of the box. So come on in, family. We have to have family talk. But before we go any further, what I would ask all of us to do is let's breathe together. Because what I'm going to be talking about today isn't abstract, it isn't distant, but it's personal. And I've been monitoring the situation in Minnesota about the ICE agents operating in city neighborhoods, about the confusion, the fear, the weapons drawn, and the lives that never made it home. And when I say lives, I want to slow this moment down. Because for us, names should absolutely matter. We've heard these names before. Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell, Oscar Grant, Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Lionel Tyrone Harris is a name you may not have heard, but that's my little brother. Unarmed, human, loved. And I need to say this out loud, not as a speaker, not as an organizer, not as a black thought leader and philosopher, but as family. When I say Lionel's name, and we affectionately called him Little, I'm not reciting history. For me, I'm remembering a voice, a laugh, a presence that should still be here. Lionel wasn't a symbol. He wasn't a headline. He wasn't a statistic waiting to be debated. He was my little brother. And losing him changed the way I hear these stories. It changed the way I read police reports. It changed the way I stand in rooms and places where I have to hear time and time again about an unarmed person, an unarmed human being that have lost their lives tragically due to a blue bullet. Because once you buried someone you love due to state violence, you stop believing that it won't happen here. You stop trusting that good intentions are enough. You stop accepting silence as neutral. So when I hear about Minnesota, about ICE, about federal agents moving through neighborhoods with weapons and authority, I don't hear theory. I hear warning. Because whether the badge says police, sheriff, federal agent, unchecked power feels the same to the people on the receiving end of it. And as black people in America, we don't need a history lesson on what that looks like. We've lived it. We've buried people because of it. We've organized because of it. So let me be clear. This is not about comparing pain. This is not about connecting dots. It's about recognizing what happens when authority operates without accountability. When force becomes routine. When explanations come faster than justice. Today, it may be framed as immigration enforcement. Tomorrow, it's another reasonable suspicion. Another officer feared for their life. Another family learning how permanent grief really feels. And that is why we don't look away. Because silence has never protected us, and distance has never saved us. So what does this moment require of us as Black people, as Americans? Not just outrage, not just remembrance, but responsibility. It requires us to stay informed, not manipulated, to build coalitions, not compete for suffering, to show up locally, consistently, and not just occasionally. And it requires us to remember that one of the most sacred traditions in Black America is standing between harm and our people, even when that harm comes wearing the language of the law. And let me be clear, I don't want revenge. I'm a non-violent civil rights activist that belongs to a very rich and honorable tradition and lineage. But here's what I do want. I want responsibility. I don't want endless mourning. I want meaningful change. Because no one else should have to stand in rooms and say the names of someone they love just to remind the world that they mattered. Lionel Tyrone Harris mattered. And honoring him, honoring all of the names that we as a community carry collectively, means refusing to accept a country where grief keeps teaching the same lesson over and over again. So I want to leave us with this, and I want us to sit with it, and sit with it honestly. If we recognize the names, if we recognize the pattern, if we recognize the warning signs, then tell me, what does our response in this moment say about whether we learned from our history or merely survived it? Because history isn't only written by presidents and policies, but it's written in rooms and spaces like these by people who will decide whether they will be passive witnesses or faithful stewards of justice. So today, must decide. What are you going to do about it? Because silence is not an option. And that's how we must think outside of the box.